This conference will now be recorded.
Now I'll start sharing my screen, okay? So coming to the today's topics, as as discussed in the demo session, we are dealing with the Selenium with Java. So Selenium has a drivers that is nothing but we call it as a web driver. These web drivers are having different types. Like we have IE web drivers, Firefox web driver, Chrome web driver, and likewise it supports all other browsers whatever there in the market today. So now we will this is all a practical explanation how the things will happen. So try to understand the correlation between the uh, classes which Selenium is supporting. So coming all to the Selenium and web drivers, IE web driver, Firefox or Chrome or Mozilla, um, or this what uh, Safari. These are all having a different web drivers. Now, Selenium is already a developed project. I mean to say, someone has written some code in the Selenium so that we are able to get these as a classes. Okay. What is meant by class and how? What are these? This in detail we will take up in the next few 10 minutes. Okay, few minutes later. That is nothing but Selenium is written by some developers who has developed in such a way that they are having already code written to interact with the browsers, and that code they are giving us as a part of classes. When you install Selenium, then these will come by default. So so any tool which we are using for the automation, they will have some inbuilt classes for which we have to use that classes and create an interaction with our browser. Okay. Now, as I told about the classes, okay. Now we should know what is meant by a class. So in Java, we have classes, objects, interface, inheritance, polymorphism, that is polymorphism, abstraction. So these all put together, we call it as a object-oriented programming language. So Java is a pure object-based programming language. So now what is meant by pure object-based programming language? When you open your Eclipse, when you try to do anything without having class, you cannot write anything. You have to start with the class. So basically what its class here is, it will define some set of properties, methods and functions inside this. So then when you run the code, you compile the code, right? First you build the code. Building is nothing but you are making sure there are no errors in the code. That errors will be identified compile time. This is called as a compile time error. Suppose if you are adding two numbers, let us suppose int a is equals to 10, int b is equals to 20, int c is equals to a plus b. This is what you have written. Okay. Now instead of having it as int or let us assume that you did not declare anything here, but you just kept as c is equal to a plus b. Then it will right away indicates that, see, you have it will right away indicates that this data type is missing. And if you are doing something which is error, then this error, suppose now you say you have written into C, and if you are not written this semicolon or the this semicolon, then what it happens, when you build this application, it will throw you an error because it has compiled all this whatever the code we have written, and at the compilation time it is throwing and saying error, the semicolon is missing in the so and so line number. Now, what happens in this compile time is, in this compile time, the compiler in the Java will convert this int A, int B, all the sorry, all these values into a bits and bytes. That is a machine readable language. And while doing that process, it will check for the syntax. And this is what the compilation means. It will convert our human readable language into a machine readable language, and it makes the addition or whatever the logic you have written, and then it get back to you the value in the C. So while doing this process, if something goes wrong, then definitely it will show you as a compilation error. And suppose there are two types of errors here. Once you build, then then the error comes, then it is compilation error. And once now everything is fine. You have kept a boolean here. I know whether you understand about the integer or boolean. Let me tell you. Uh, uh, these are the data types. We will get into that in few minutes. Okay. So if I
Yeah.
int is nothing but it is taking up the integer value. Now bool is something, it is taking the uh, yes or no kind of, true or false, that is what it is taking. Okay, so now if you are adding two numbers, you will get some integer, but if you're trying to put that value and check if it is a true or false, does that make sense? No, right? So at compilation, it will not, while doing it the runtime, when you try to execute this program, then it will throw an error saying that this cannot be copied or this is not the valid operation you are performing. That is called as a runtime error. If something is happening, if everything goes well in the build and while compilation time, and if you are getting any error post compilation, then that is called as a runtime, that that there is no syntax problem, but some logical operations are some wrong, the comparisons between the two values is wrong, that which can be identified in the post execution. That is nothing but the runtime error. So now, in order to write any kind of logics, there should be written under the class. So class is having a class name, class A. Okay, and this is a class is having a, these are called as a variables. A is called as a variable, and int is called as a data type. Okay, so now this class will combine variables and functions, and this all put together is combinedly known as a class functionality. Right, now we have, as I told, int a is equals to 10. This is a value which is giving to a. So whichever value needs to be assigned to any variable, that should be always on the right side, and this is how it indicates that a is going to have this value. Now when you write to print system dot print a, then it will print 10. Okay, might be the syntax here is different, but the intention of showing my thing is this value of a is something holding 10. Okay, now Likewise, now we have different data types. We have integer, we have boolean, we have character, that is a character, we have string, and we have float, we have double. Likewise, we have many things. So I will show you a chart where we can get to see that. Okay, 1 second. Here we are getting into the data types. These data types we are having as a primitive data types and non-primitive data types. So first let us see what is primitive data types. Primitive data types, as I told, we will have a boolean. Boolean is nothing but we take it as a yes or no. Let us assume if A is equals to 10, B is equals to 20. Let us assume there are two values. A is equals to 10, A is equals to 10 and B is equals to 20. Now I'll write a condition to check if A is equals to B. Then in this condition, I am trying to check the values present in the A is equals to B or not. Do you see the logic behind the boolean? Where it comes and where it does not come? Do you agree here the boolean will come or no?
Yes, it will come because we are trying to match whether it is true or false.
Right. So this kind of logics we need to have a boolean where we will get the value as a true or false. So similarly, when we are trying to put some numeric values, then this numeric has character and integral. Integral is nothing but okay, first let us go to character. Character, and this character is having a char value. Character is nothing but is a collection of words, collection of letters put together as a word. But char is a single character. If I can say, if I write A, B, C as a character, then the char will go with only A, that is single alphabet. Numeric is integral type, and integral is again divided into integer. Integer is a byte, short, int, and long. So why do we need to have these many kind of distribution among and again integral to integer, integer to byte, short? This is all depending upon the size it accepts. Like byte size, short size, int size, long size will vary. Let us say if int size is taking 2 bytes, then long will take 4 bytes. So accepting any number within the range based upon our requirement, you should use the proper data types. Let us say if you are using some decimal numbers. So for decimal numbers, you will have a dot in between, right? If you are trying to use that decimal number in the place of int, then int will never accept that value because int is not going to accept any decimal values. It is a integer with having a range between some 2000 until some range is there, I'll tell you. So that range and float range is different. So these all ranges we really did not know because we are not seriously developing any application, but in fact we are testing some application. So in this regards, we need not understand what is the logic behind of accepting all these things as a developer, but to have an idea whatever kind of data types are there, that is always a good thing. So there is a minimal difference, that the minimal difference if you're trying to understand that should be enough for us. Integral is nothing but the floating point again. So this is having integer and floating point. Integer will accept only 0 to integer limit whatever it is there, and floating will accept all the decimal values. Float and double are representing the floating point, and these are all the decimal values. Float is decimal values. Double is something which is accepting more range than integer. If something is going to come as a big number, then we have to assign that as a double. So this is all important for us, but majorly we work with boolean character, char, integer, like that. In integer also we will mostly work with integer, and very rarely work with the long. Floating type, if there is anything coming 40 floating, then definitely floating we will be working as a data type as a float. And double is something which is coming, as I told, it accepts more number than integer. So if something more is coming which a integer cannot handle, then we can use double. Okay. And these are the non-primitive data types. Non-primitive data types are nothing but it is an object kind of, where the storage of these variables and these variables will be different. This will be on the heap, that is in the memory allocated specifically to them, and this is a kind of object oriented kind of thing which we will get to see once we get into the programming. But probably I might tell you a little more which is not required for a tester, but for you to understand what happens internally, I will give a little bit more information. But being on the test side, if we are aware of what are available data types and when to use what, that should be more than enough. Okay. So next, coming to data types and sizes. Now, as I told, Boolean will accept only false and it is of 1 bit. Do you know that 8 bits will convert into 1 byte? This measurement, do you know of them?
Yes, yes.
Yes, right. So bit is nothing but. So what do you think? What is bit?
That's
You
like
know
a
what is
gigabyte and kilobyte kind of thing.
what is a bit? Now kilobyte is something more than a bit. What is a bit?
Right.
From starting point is a bit. Then only the byte has come. Kilobytes, megabytes, gigabytes, tera, nano, and this all has come. But the initial point of this is bit. So a bit is nothing but either a 0 or 1. This is a machine readable language. Okay. So when these bits and bytes, when this bit 8 bits will convert into 1 byte. Okay. So now Boolean is taking only one bit. That means when you tell bool C, that means in the memory it is taking only one bit. C is having only one bit of occupancy. It is not taking too much of memory in your programming. So that means usage of the memory with with boolean is only one bit. That is what the size here means. So sometimes do you think there is a performance issue in the development side and they get back to the code and do something, and now again they will check if it is fine now, because the application will be a more slow comparatively, then they do it a kind of a code review, like what code we have used, where is the consumption happening that much, so can we change the code, can we make the code little bit faster. So these all things happens in the code side and the review, and they put some variables or put some programming language in such a way that it is not occupying too much of memory, too much of time, processing time. So that will happen based upon the knowledge, how much this array is taking, how much these data types are taking, where are we storing this data. These all things is really impacting for the developers. But for us to know is a good thing. We actually speaking, we need not know about it, but having a minimum understand will gain you more knowledge. So it is a very less memory occupancy. Char is something which is taking a 2 bytes. Byte, 1 byte. So byte is nothing but a byte itself. Short 2 bytes, int 4 byte. See, we usually use int A, int B. So that means we are trying to get this memory as a 4 byte memory. Let us assume this is a single byte, then the integer will take all this memory. Okay, 1 byte. If it is a 1 bit, then it will take 4 bytes. So 4 bytes probably will be a little lengthier. So this is how the long is 8 bytes. See, suppose if your integer is not accepting any value which is greater than its limit, then you have to put your integer value as a long, int or double, which is almost taking the same memory, which is accepting more value. That means it is accepting some a greater number. Let us assume you are trying to enter you are trying to enter one 3, 4, 5, 6, 3, 2, 1, 8, 9, 6. This is something which you are trying to enter in int. Then it might say index out of range, or we cannot accept this. This is something which is out of range. Then you have to place in the place of int I, you have to place double or long int. You'll get to see these values defined in the development code. They will accept these numbers when the number which we have to input is something very large. So this is all about the data types and sizes. Do you have any question, Abdul?
Mm, no, Achana, I'm clear. Just can you share this document, whatever it is, like?
Oh yeah, the one which I have shown you just now.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, sure. Yeah, I can do that. Not an issue. So now coming back to this programming thing. Now, as I told, this class A is having a data types, that is a data type, a variable and a variable value. Okay. Now there will be a public void main, a method, public void main method. Let us assume. So here class A will have a variable name, will have a variables, and we have a method. This is called a method. Why? Because method always have the parenthesis by which we can make out as a method. And by having a class, we can make out this A is a class name. Okay, this is what the syntax it says. Now, coming to this public. Do you see this public void? What are all this? Why do we need to have this all these things? So, as I told, there is an abstraction in the OOPS concept. Abstraction is nothing but it will hide the data whenever it is required with the help of some keywords. We have public, private, protected. This is something which we use generally. Besides this, we have more number public, private, protected, and something which is having outside the library, which we are where we can access using it. That is that is not important for us, but for us to understand, these three are very much used in the code: public, private, and protected. Public in the sense it is open to everyone. When you are accessing this A, when accessing is coming in the accessing is something which you are trying to get the values of A by means of creating object. That how we do, I will tell you. But as of now, when you have this public in place, that means everyone can access this main method. Whatever there is in the main method, with the help of class A, we can access the code in the main. Now, what is private? Private is something which only the class, within the class can use it. If you are trying to use the object of the class somewhere else in another class, and if you are trying to get this data, then you will not able to get it. That is only internal to the class. What is protected? Protected can be used if you write a method name with the help of the protected, then it can be used, but only to the it's a subsequent class where the inheritance has already happened. Now, how do we write the object? Object for the class A is First, before telling that, I will tell you one more thing. Control in public, private, and protected. This is what I told you, right? Now, coming to inheritance. Inheritance is nothing. But do you know what is meant by inheritance, Abdul, by any chance?
Uh, Inheritance is, in general terms, layman language, if I tell, like inherit some genetic from your ancestors and this, some kind of thing.
Okay, okay, good. That itself should be fine. So, inheritance is nothing but creating or accessing something from its parent to its child. Right, whatever you said is the right. So, if class A is having some variables or some logic or some whatever you want to use it to class B, yes, we can do it by having the inheritance in place. So, how we represent inheritance is something like this: A inherits B, or in Java we write A inherits B. There is a syntax difference, but on the whole, the A is getting inherited to B means all its functionalities are getting to the B. If there is any class C which is not inheriting A, then it will not be able to use its values and logic, and we cannot use any of those variables also. So for this, we will have a multi-level inheritance as well. Like this is a single level inheritance. This is multi-level inheritance where A to B, B to C can happen. But we cannot have multiple inheritance. Okay, multiple inheritance cannot happen. Why? Because the structure of the Java will not allow us to do multiple inheritance. It will throw in error. For that concept, we got interface. For this, in order to overcome that restrictions, we have an interfaces. Interfaces can be used across classes with the same class. So, what is meant by interface is something which you have to understand. Is inheritance fine? Is inheritance you got what is called as single inheritance? Just from one class to another class, if you are inheriting these these functions or these member variables, then it is a single class inheritance, that is single level. If you are inheriting A to B and then B to C, then it is called as a multi-level. This
Okay.
programmatically we will make you understand in the next session. We will give you some assignments after telling what is what, and you have to work on it so that you will get some hands-on, like what will be the accessing level between these all kinds of inheritance. Okay,
Okay.
and this is a multiple inheritance where this is, you can also try doing this, but it will not happen as this is a not possible in oops language,
Okay.
either it be the Java or the C sharp. It is never possible. For that reason, we have got the interface. So, do
Okay.
you have any questions? Let me know.
Yeah. So far I'm clear, but doing while doing some practicals, I may get some doubts. Then I'll continue.
Okay. Okay. So, okay. Now, there is a concept of interface. So, interface is nothing but it accepts only a method name. It will not have any definition inside it. It will just declare it, like public void add. That's it. It will not have body. In general, what happens in any function, we will have this method declaration, where we will put int c is equals to 10 plus 20, right? Is this correct syntax? What do you feel? Can we have int c is equals to 10 plus 20 directly? Abdul, I want to understand
Mm,
your.
yes, we can, right?
Yes, we can. So that means what will int c contains is 30, correct? So now when you try to put this value in the c with the help of these two numbers, then it is storing it, and you can either print system.print on the screen, then you will get to see 30, or you can also have this written with the help of the return type. Here, public is something access specifier. Okay, public we called as a access specifier. Access specifier is something which is letting others know whether you can use it outside the class or not. So, public is is able to access by outside the class. Whereas, what is void? Void is something is called as a return type. Return type, if it is written as a void, then that means we are not returning anything. We are not returning anything. Only C will store value. That's it. If you want to see what is there in the C, then you have to write system.print line C. Then whatever there is in the C, then it will print as a 30 on your screen. Okay. But just in case, instead of void, if you write int, this is int variable, this is having a numeric, and if you're trying to put the value c to somewhere else, then you have to write this data type here. The data type should match, so that this c value can be sent over the method to some variable. Okay. Is it too high for you to tell all these things right now, or is it okay?
I just got confused over here.
Okay, I'll tell you one more time. This is very easy. um, why I'm telling now all this is public void add. This is a method name, correct? Pub access specifier, return type, method name.
Right.
Okay, this is what we will write. Now, in the place of public, we can write private or protected. This is all
Right.
things you know it, right? In
Right.
the place of void, we can write int, char, bool.
Okay,
These
cool.
things also, these can also be written. That means we can have this in the place of void, we can have data types. Again,
Got it.
which data type we have to use, it depends upon the logic what you write inside the add method. Okay, let us
Ex-
assume, uh,
Okay.
if int is having int c is this is a method function start. Actually, it should be from here to here. No? I'm just so now int c is equals to 30. This is what I'm writing. I'm not adding or not doing anything. I'm just declaring some int c. I want to have a 30 value. Now, if I want to populate this c value, then through this method call, then instead of void, I'll write int. Just understand until this level. Going forward in the future classes, you will understand, okay, this is how you can take the C value outside of this class to somewhere else, to some other method in a class. This C, this 30 value with the help of writing int, you can navigate from this method to some other method, and you can give this value to some other method. It can come out of that method and it can be assigned to something else, where the seek value, if at all, if you are using any c in going forward in any other methods, then you can use as a 30, or you can take this as a 30 to another variable by using this int variable. Okay.
So, Archana,
Uh,
sorry to disturb you over here. So, is
no
it like
problem.
a function thing?
Do you know what is meant by parameterized uh, no, this methods and
Hmm, no,
calling
no.
methods? Okay. Mhm. Okay. So probably understand this type that void can be having this different kinds of
Got it. Yeah, got it. Yeah.
and just
Up to here, got it.
understand up to this. Yeah.
Yeah, got it.
Okay. Now we will go back. Fine. So now this interface will have only until add method. This is what it has. Usually what will happen, as I told, this will have everything in the open brace and close brace, and this all put together is called a function. But here now we are having only method as a declaration here. This is called as an interface. Why these interfaces are required is something. Why these interfaces are required? It is because if you want, let us assume there is a mobile. Okay. Now initially mobile is having a message functionality. Wherever you go, whichever mobile you take, will the message functionality remain or not?
Yeah, got it. Yeah, it's there.
Huh? Message
Yes,
function will remain. Let us assume
yes.
there is an old model of mobile where it takes only SMS, but it will not accept any video message. There are mobiles, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this
Right.
is a little upgrade of the older version or the minimal version of the mobile where it accepts only message. The next level is accepting message along with the video. The next, as the product quality grows on, there are many other features which is coming up the mobile, but the common feature is messaging. So for that I will write public void message, and I will just open and just put this, that's it. So wherever I need, whichever module I am developing or whichever module they are doing, as a developer, in the sense I am telling you this context, how we use this so you can correlate with it. Okay, so now interface is something which, if suppose there is a Nokia which is a basic model which accepts only message, and there is a Samsung which accepts message along with video, and there are other phones like this. Now my interface is having a message method. So this message method, for I will write public class Nokia. So this Nokia will inherit, will implements. Actually, I should write implements, I guess, in Java. Implements. My interface name is iMessage. Let us assume. So implements iMessage. That means this iMessage is having message. We can write that public void message, and we can write like what all messages you want to write. You can implement that and you can write code. Now Nokia, if you are having a different kind of messaging, then that messaging functionality will be written here. If you are writing, then there is another class called as Samsung, then you write in the same method along with video. The functionality here is differing from Nokia to Samsung, but you are still using the same interface, because interface is not having the logic, it is not having the body, it is just declared, it is not having the definition. If you write any method like this without having a body, public void add, and if you are not writing body, if you are writing this just, then it is called declaration, method declaration. If you are having this open braces and not having this semicolon, then that is called method definition. This is the terminology we use. Declaration will not have, definition will have the logic inside it. As the interface is used across the project to just have an uniformity, that is used to have the uniformity among the across the project in different classes. If you are using the same name, instead of using it again and again, we can have that name here and put the functionality whatever you require here with respect to that requirement. Any questions?
No, Archana. You did, yeah.
It is just for understanding. Once we do our project, we will make you put all these things. Let us assume now you are. I'll tell you another application. This is respect to the automation. Let us assume now you have got a mobile phone. You are trying to see some app. Okay. Now what will happen? In that app, you will have menu items, right? When you go to the breadcrumbs, you will when you tap the this is an application. Let us say some some ABC application where you are trying to read or purchase or articles or something other. You will have the menu items in this breadcrumb. Once you tap on this breadcrumbs, then you get to see some menu items on your left pane, right? This is home. These are some links which you want to navigate through. Now, if you click on this link other than home, it will redirect to another screen. Correct? Redirect to another screen where the menu items will remain same. Right?
Right.
So for this, we will try to put these menu items in one interface. You got it? You will try to put these all things in one interface. Like,
Got it.
got it?
So
Uh,
everything that other things will not change. So got it. Got
Other
it.
things
Got it.
will not change, but whenever you have to use this, then you have to implement this interface, and this interface will give you the method names which are already written. We will write the method names which are there here in here. Okay.
Right.
Now we will implement and we will use whichever is required in that. That's it. We will not use everything.
Got it.
Got it? This is how the interface really helps us. So this is nothing but the application looks very neat and it is reusable and it is a uniformity. You are maintaining everything there. That is how the OOPS concept is built. Now in the real world, what is a class? Class is nothing but an object. Let us assume that is a car. Car with four wheels, one steering, one and these all things, doors, seats. Put together, this is an object, complete object, right? Similarly, in our software, when we call as a class, that also comprises of everything which can be accessed to the real time world. Like if you are having a four wheels and doors and steering and everything put together as a car, then you can use this car as an object, you can drive away. Similarly, in our class, if you are trying to develop anything, then the whole whatever there in this class can be used, can be accessed to the uh, can be accessed through the object outside the class. You got it? Like when you as I told, objects can be created. One second. Okay. Now class A, this is having um, let us say as I took the car example, let us say this is a car. Hmm? Now car is having four wheels. So what shall we do here is int, not int. Let us say that is okay. Uh, Wheels int doors, and we will have functionality like public void wheel int. Okay, then number of okay, let us say some name or any method, then we can access it. Probably this is not the right way to declare. Let me say. Let us give it a simple thing. Why? Because this can come with the inheritance concept. Let us discuss there. So, so when you are having int, a is equals to 10 and int b is equals to 20, int c is equals to a into b, then we are multiplying here. And when you are multiplying, when you want to access this int and see what is that coming out, then for this object you will say class multiplication. You will say multiplication, multi. Now multi obj is equals to new multi. This is what the syntax. So this is nothing but the object I have created for this car to access these variables. If these are public variables, then I can access obj dot a, obj dot a, obj dot p, and when I write this I can print out on the screen as well. So once we get into the practical session, you will get to understand like how to access a class with the help of the variables.
Okay,
But
okay.
any class should have an object for sure. Then only we can access all these variables with the help of objects. Without object, if you write how many other classes, you will not do anything. So understanding about these classes, data types and functions are very important. Okay. Now,
Okay, Archana. Yeah.
uh, so coming to, so I will stop here today because this is of too much theoretical is happening. Now we will just quickly rewind. We have gone through the classes. Classes contains of all variables, member functions, bind up together. That is nothing but encapsulation. This is called encapsulation. Binding all member functions is nothing but if you are having some public void add, if besides doing this, if you are also having some method of public void add, then we can say this is a method, these are the way, this is the logic for multi and this is for the logic for addition, and these are the variable values, these are variables and these are data types, and this is all under class. So this is bind up, we have put together all together under the class. That itself is nothing but an encapsulation. Encapsulation is one of the OOPS concept. So abstraction comes with wherever we need the data to show outer world, we put the public, and this is comes abstraction comes with the help of the access specifiers, whether we take the public, private, or protected. And the other
Okay.
thing is uh, inheritance. Inheritance is nothing but inheriting from one class to another class, that we do on the practical sessions again, so that you to understand. But as per theory, multi-level and single level is supported, but not multiple. For that multiple, in order to overcome that, we have got the interfaces. Interfaces accepts only method method declaration, not the definition. So it can be used wherever it is required, and we in that definition we can put our logic as it only contains declaration. We will implement it, put the definition whichever is suitable for our requirement. This is all about the OOPS concept. Polymorphism is something which we will do it later. It is bit similar to the inheritance, but we will have some more differences. We will make you understand that as well, because while you are attending any interview, these questions they might ask regarding the OOPS concept. OOPS is very much important, so you have to practice this OOPS thoroughly. This
Okay.
will be an interview question for sure. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
uh,
Archana, small doubt here. Can you
mhm,
just open an Amazon website and just
mhm.
for the interface as an example for the interface? So what I have my understanding I'll
Amazon,
show.
why do we not go Amazon? We can just
Any
Google it,
website,
right?
any website for the interface, how it works.
Oh, okay. Mm, let us go to. Oh, the checkbook. Interface versus okay, interfaces in Java. An interface in Java programming language is defined as an abstract type used. Oh, you are confused with this abstract?
No, 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 no. I'm not
Okay.
telling you about this confusion. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Just on the top hand side, okay, this algorithm, I'm trying to understand this interface algorithm, okay.
See, this is how
How?
it works. It will have only the declaration, only the definition. Uh, Sorry. It will have only this, it will not have any body or logic in it.
Okay.
See, now this is the interface IN1. Usually, this is the naming convention they use, Abdul. Whenever you write interface, it will always append with capital I in order for anyone who is coming and looking to the screen or your code will get to know this is an interface. If you are using interface, then they will obviously know. But what will happen? You will implement this into the class, right? There you will not write interface. You will write only the interface name. So by seeing that capital I, anyone can understand that you are implementing interface with that name. You got it?
Yeah, got it, got it.
Still, see now, as I told, see this is an interface in1, and it is having some variable which is declared as a 10. So I
Hmm.
in a is a 10 value. Here this displayed as a void display. Okay. In general, interface will always have as a public type. Why it is
Okay.
called as an abstract is it is not having any method defined in it, so it is called an abstract. So here when you write as a public, it will throw you error because interface by default will have public. That's the reason you need not write anything. And void display, this is something which you are using in this class. When you are using in this class, then you are writing implements. See, test class implements in1. You are not writing interface anywhere. So by seeing the class name itself, the uh, this is called as a standard notification. This is a standard coding standards where we try to put these things in place so that anyone can see by this name and understand this is an interface. And now after implementing interface, what is happening? This display will be coming up here. Means you can use this public void display and write out your whatever you want to write. System.out.println will write you the Greek, and this is what you are trying to put through the object. You are right. Basically what happens, any class when you create in the in the Java or wherever, when you are learning, you will have this main this standard kind of coding. Like class will have a public static void main. Okay. And later when we are writing our code in our classes by adding a new classes, you will not get to see this kind of main. You will write your own project, your own functionality. Okay. So now this is a standard method which is inbuilt in any Java or C sharp when you add. And this, when you are having this main method, that means execution should happen through main method only. When you execute it, it will go to test class T. Test class is, this is nothing but the class name. Here you are creating an object, and this is a syntax of creating objects for any classes. Now t dot display system dot out dot println a. So what is a is having? A is having a value 10. So it will print you the value a. Now t dot display is what? Display is something you are writing a string geek. So it will display geek and it will print 10. This is what the whole class is doing. Any questions?
No, acha. Clear. Yeah,
See, you have a geek and you have 10.
got it.
Okay, there is also a good explanation. See, let's consider the example of vehicles like bicycle, car, and bike. They have common functionalities. So we make an interface and out in and put all these common functionalities. Let's bicycle, bike, car, etc. implement all these functionalities in their own classes in their own way. As I told you, the messaging system, how the messaging system will happen across the mobiles. Similarly, now this is comparatively doing with the vehicles. Vehicles will have tires. Vehicle will have some common functionality among these all things is a tire. So now let us see how they are changing. Gear, speed up, apply brakes. Yes, this is something which is common. So he has put that in the interface. And how you are using that in your vehicle, change gear, new gear, gear is equals to new gear. What is this? This is a bicycle. Okay. So in this bicycle, you have implemented this inheritance, which is a vehicle, and you have created two variables, speed and gear. So here, gear is something new gear. Okay. So change gear is something new gear. Change gear you are using, and you are using it as a variable. So you are overriding. Acha, this is something, what do you say, this is a polymorphism concept. We will get to this later. You will confuse now, because polymorphism today I did not tell. I told you only the inheritance. This override concept comes in the polymorphism. Okay, but still I would like to go this override change gear into new gear. So what happened is change gear is something this. Now instead of int a, this is our standard definition which is declared in the vehicle, that is interface. Now in our method bicycle, I wrote it as a new gear. Okay. Now what I'm doing, this gear, which is a local variable, is being replaced with new gear. So what is this new gear? What are they trying to put in the new gear? We will see. What is this? This is a bicycle class. So where is the instance created for bicycle class? We will go there. Bicycle classes is bicycle class, object is created in the main here. Now what is it doing? This is a bicycle dot change gear, and what is the number you have given? It is a 2. So today we did not go to the parameterized methods. We have just, okay, I'll tell you here, because I know I'm going, but I don't know how much you are understanding, right? So now, for our understanding, today we discussed public int a public int add, and we have written the parameters, and we have declared here int a is equals to 10, int b is equals to 20, right? Instead, we can also put something here as int, we can declare with the parameterized constructor here, that it accepts two int variables. Okay, and what is that int? We can write is int a and int b. This is how the declaration should happen. When you create an object for the class, you object dot add you will send 2 comma 3. When you run this 2 will be passed to int a, 3 will be passed to int b, and this, now these things will not happen. Instead, you will say int c is equals to a plus b. So a 2, b 3, then c will have 5. This is something which will happen in the runtime. These parameterized constructions we did not go today. That we will discuss in the later sessions. So here, that is what is happening. Change gear is 2. So go back to the bicycle. Okay, here. Now this is 2. Int gear is 2. So what will happen? New gear will pass it to the gear as 2. So that's how the gear will happen. But are we using this gear anywhere? Yes. So we are writing system.println speed. Speed, what is the speed here? Gear. We are writing that you are working on so and so gear. You are just printing it some here. Of you are taking the parameters from the main function, and you are writing here in the print after having this all. um, so this is now gear is now new gear is 2, this is gear is 2, and what is happening? Increment, you will pass some more value from that increment. Speed plus increment. So speed, what is happening? Initially it might be 0, then it will add with increment, and that value will be sitting in the speed. Okay, is the speed and gear is in? Okay, this is local variables. Abdul, are you understanding? I think you should understand because you know Python little bit, right?
Yeah, I'm following. Yeah.
You are following it, right? That's good. Yeah. So here now 2 is there. And speed up is something it is accepting 3. Okay. What is speed up here? Speed up is 3. So here increment is 3. So initially this speed is not having any value. That means it is null. It is 0. But you are adding 0 plus 3. That means now speed is 3. Okay. So going down. Now applying brakes is decrement. What is happening here? Where is that? Decrement. What is happening here in the decrement? Apply brakes is there. Apply brakes is 1. Okay, okay. Apply brakes it is taking 1. So now speed minus 1. Okay, speed is already um, it is already 3. So 3 minus 1 it is 2 now. Okay, because this is a local variable wherever you are using it, if you are using it the same speed which is declared for one time, and if see, okay, I'll tell you one more logic. Int speed is declared for one time there. That means it is set to integer in this class called vehicle. That means it is local to this class. This int speed, int gear, whatever you are using, that is local to this class. Where is class? Until this. Not until this. This is also method. So until this class, this speed is local variable. So if you are using just the speed, not having any variable in front of it, then that means you are using the same speed. Whatever you are written here, you are using it same. So now here increment it is 0 plus 3. Now speed is having value 3. Now we are using the same speed here. Speed already contains 3 value. So 3 minus 1. Now it is again containing 2 here. It got decreased. You got my point? You are using the same speed which is having a value inside it, and you are decreasing with the same value. Now the speed got decreased to 2. Now you are
Okay.
writing the whole functionality here in the system saying that speed is 2, gear is 4, 4 or whatever. Gear is 3. Gear is 2,
Hmm.
speed is 2 now. Both are 2. Any confusion?
No, no, no.
Very good, very good. So you are understanding it. So you are fast. Very nice. Okay. So in this declaration, it helps you to to know how to declare now. Okay. Suppose if you have written int speed, and again if you have written int speed here, int speed, it will be local to this method. It will be local to this method, and this speed is something not having this value. I mean to say this speed is something which is not having value with which is there in this speed. This is 3, and this will be a null. It will be a 0. So when
Hmm.
you write or declare variables, you should be conscious whether you are using the same or different. Different means you will have a declaration once again. This is nothing but the declaration. Like int speed, you are differentiating that variable with the data type. Got it?
Got it. Yeah, got it. Got it.
So
Got
you
it.
tell me now what is your question. We'll address that as well. You told that your interface was something different than what we discussed.
No, no.
Hmm?
Got it. I was
You got
looking
it.
only. Yeah,
Yeah.
but more in detail I'll be once I fix this
Yes,
Eclipse.
true. Yes, yes, yes. You will get into
Then
that in detail.
I'll
And these
come
are
back to
very
that.
interesting. And these are very interesting, Abdul. I'll tell you, if you get the command over the oops concept, then you can do whatever you can. The basic core strength lies in here. You should practice as much as possible. So we will give you some sample programs to do it on the abstraction, inheritance, polymorphism. Polymorphism consists of override keyword where it again have a base class, like suppose, uh, wait, control, okay, control Z, correct? Hmm. Where you will have a class A, class A, class B inherits class A. If there is a method somewhere written as a add here, you can use the same add here. That means this is getting overridden here with the help of override keyword. This is interesting, and you should definitely know all these things. So the moment when you are confident on this, you will have that strength to answer any kind of question in the interview. Majorly it will help you in the interview. But these complex programs we will not be writing in the automation, but for you to understand when this helps is very much important. Okay.
Okay, okay. So that we didn't discuss right today. Polymorphism.
No, we will not, because you will get overloaded. Today,
Yeah.
your thing will be going through the OOPS concept wherever you find over the internet. Try to relate what I said is right, what you understood is correct or not. You do these things.
Okay.
This is very much important. Okay. Now we will send you the document by today end of the day. You try to install that and be ready by the next class. Okay.
Okay. Okay. If I get stuck somewhere, and I'll ping you or whatever is feasible. Okay.
No, sorry. If you.
If I get stuck in while installing
Oh
Eclipse,
yeah, yeah,
so
sure,
I'll.
sure, sure. Yeah, definitely you can reach out to us. We are there. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah.
Okay. So we will wind up for today. Okay.
Okay. Okay, Arshana. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. 1 second. Where is this? Okay. So you can drop off. Okay. Then bye. I'm leaving. Thank you.
Bye, Arshana. Have a nice day. Bye.
You too. Thanks. Bye.